Yeah, I think the overall backdrop recently has been a lot of concern about demand weakening, particularly data centers, and the impact from the U.S.-China trade war. That was mentioned specifically by SK Hynix this morning as one of the reasons for weak demand. So sentiment going into the call, the earnings release was already pretty weak. The actual numbers they printed were pretty decent. They slightly missed our numbers, but they did actually beat on the bottom line. They beat consensus on the bottom line. So overall, it's pretty strong. It's just a commentary around the weaker demand environment, particularly in Q4, that a lot of other companies in the U.S. have also mentioned. That's the thing that's concerning not just SK Hynix investors, but overall semis investors at the moment.
Mark, which makes me wonder, why now? Because one of the big factors you mentioned, the China-U.S. trade concerns, arguably that has already been priced into this sector somewhat. We've seen it take a hit previously, and nothing new has really changed on that front.
Yeah, I think that it takes time for these things to actually hit real demand. And what tends to happen is you get this build-up of inventory, and so customers still end up buying because they've already committed, for example, Q2, Q3 to buy a certain amount, and they still buy that certain amount because they're contractually obligated to purchase a certain amount, and then the market's starting to wake up to the fact that actually end demand isn't quite as good as that. They have a little bit too much inventory, and so they start to push out some of their orders. That's kind of what's happening now. In a few different sectors in tech, particularly semis.
And Mark, on a day like today, we do like to look out for bright spots. And so I did notice the company, SK Hynix, that is, was saying that Chinese consumers' demand, though, growing demand, if you will, for high-density chips for low-end smartphones as well, could help to offset some pain in other areas for prices that we've seen. Is that a fair assumption?
Yeah, I mean, they talked about the specs. So for low-end smartphones, well, all smartphones really, the specifications are getting higher and higher. The cameras are getting more and more advanced, and that means lots more demand for high-end memory chips, which they supply. So that's one positive bright spot. They also see data center demand picking up second half of next year. Particularly the hyperscales, Google, Amazon, sounds like they're a bit weak at the moment. They're for the first half of next year, they're guiding weak demand from them. But the second half next year, they're expecting a bit of a rebound on demand, and so that's positive. That's the positive silver lining here.
Hey everybody, it's Hadley Gamble from our new CNBC Middle East Bureau in Abu Dhabi. Thanks for stopping by. Now to watch more, you can try one of the videos that just popped up on your screen. And don't forget to subscribe.